Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, I'm Justin, and thank you for stopping in and spending just a little bit of time with me. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 4 things I would have done differently had I known before installing my 10 kilowatt solar system. And if you stick around to the end, you may be very surprised with the number 1 thing I would have changed or I would not have used on this solar system. Number 1, you see the orientation of the panels. That's a portrait layout, meaning that the panels are running like this with the roof. I would have changed the orientation of the panels. The reason is I'm planning, or had been planning, on possibly adding 2 more panels there and 2 more panels there. Had I turned the orientation of the panel to go that way, rather than going like this, which is right now setting in a portrait, if I'd have turned them to landscape, I would be able to add more panels on the roof, giving me more space to expand if it's needed. Because I was unsure of the Q cable, if it would reach on these large panels. These are 6.5 feet tall and 3.5 foot wide. I was told that the Q cable may not reach to the next inverter. Turns out I had plenty of cable to do that. And the next thing I would have changed is I would have put those panels out in this field, regardless of the red tape that I was facing. Because I was told I had to go through a special commission and go through a special permit. It would take 3 to 4 months to get approval for such a large array out in my field due to jurisdiction restrictions. I think I would have loved to have my in-ground mount. I understand that it would have cost a lot more to put it out in the field. The Iron Ridge racking system, I absolutely love how it hooked up, but I would have went with a Sinclair in-ground mount and I would have had a tilt. So I would be able to pull more production out of my panels. And just servicing it would just be so much easier because I would be able to do it from the ground level rather than having to get up on the roof, which I absolutely hate getting up on the roof. So I wish I could have got it over here. And if I had to do it over with, I would have just went through the red tape and made sure to get it installed out in the field. And I would have changed the home run wires that come from the solar array down to the combiner box, because I installed a 12 gauge, and which is adequate and fine, when I should have thought about the future and went with 10 gauge wires. But it's not going to be a problem, but I would just change that if I had to do it over with. And the reason that I would have done that is because there's a thing called V-drop. And if you don't know what V-drop is, I would definitely look into that, and we'll get into that probably in another video at some point, because the home run from the J box that's up on the roof here to the side of the house is roughly around 100 feet. I do worry about the V-drop. I mean, we're fine now, but all the calculations put me in a really sweet spot. So I stuck with 12 gauge wire, but I just wish I'd have went with 10 gauge wire, because if I wanted to add more panels, it causes that V-drop to increase just a little bit. And I do plan on increasing the array at some point into the future, because if I wanted to add 4 more panels, I have 9 panels per branch. So I have a total of 27 panels. So if we look over here, we have 1 branch over here on this side, and then we have a branch, the main bottom, the first 9 panels there, and then a branch at the main top. If I can keep this from focusing out, right there, the first 9 up there. That's how my branches are set up. So we have 3 total branches. To stop that V-drop from happening, and we'll just touch on this very briefly, I could splice the wire in the middle of those 9 and then run that to my J box, and it helps support that V-drop. But had I just done the 10 gauge wire, which doesn't cost much more than 12 gauge wire, then I wouldn't even have to really worry about it. Even if I install panels right now up to 11. So on these IQ7 pluses, install 11 in one series. So I don't have any problem with that. It's just thinking in the future, I should have added that 10 gauge wire. And here's the one that might be a major surprise to a lot of y'all. I would not have installed the Enphase IQ7 Plus microinverters. And you may be asking, why? Why wouldn't you do the microinverters? You talk so highly of them. Not saying I wouldn't have done Enphase, because absolutely, that's all I would have done. But I wouldn't have done the IQ7 Pluses. I would have went ahead and spent the extra money and bought the IQ8As. And there's a big reason for that. We have oversized panels producing 370 watts per panel. The label on the IQ7 Pluses says it's compatible up to a 440 watt panel. Well, that doesn't mean it's going to produce what it's saying it's compatible with. That means you can pair it with a 440 watt panel, but it's not going to produce 440 watts. These panels are 370 watts due to the inverter, where it can only max out at 295, but we don't produce much over 265, 270 watts out of each one of these panels at any given time. So we have limited what our capabilities are, because I went with IQ7 Pluses. Probably might think about changing those individually down the road if I can somehow come up with a plan to get that worked out, because I have spent a lot of money on these IQ7 Pluses. I didn't know, I don't really see how I'm going to be able to do the IQ8As. The IQ8As will get me up around that 350 watts, which allows me for my drop over 20 years, and then I won't see much of a decrease. But I wish I would have just went with those from the very beginning. So if you're doing oversized panels like I have here, I would say anything 350 and up, make sure and grab the IQ8As, or something that's going to provide you where you can get the most power out of your solar panels. Because in my situation, we have a 10 kilowatt solar system, but really the true production can only be 7,800 watts. So we got a 7.8 kilowatt system, not really a 10 kilowatt system. And that's kind of frustrating, because, you know, as a DIYer, you make mistakes. That was a big mistake on my part. Although I kind of knew, in a sense, it wasn't going to produce 10 kilowatts, I did not know that they only produced 290 until I had already bought all of them. Now, I knew it going up on the roof and getting them installed. I knew that, but when I first started this whole project over a year ago, I didn't know it. I looked at those numbers on the data sheet and it said compatible up to 440 watts. I figured, and my bad for doing that, because I didn't do more research before buying them, I figured that it would produce the 370 that's coming out of the panel. I was wrong. I would have changed that. And I'm just saying to you guys, if you're looking to build your system, make sure to get a compatible microinverter that produces what your panels are capable of producing. In my situation, we have the IQ7 Pluses that cannot produce more than 295 max, and on a continuous basis 290, and we're really only getting about 260 to 275. We might hit 280 every once in a while, but we're not getting even close to that 370. So I would definitely, number one thing I would change is I would have went with IQ8As. And the bonus thing I would have done is installed a smart switch. Because I would have installed an IQ8 microinverter, the power went out, I would still be able to produce power to my house even without a battery backup, if the sun was shining on the panels. So that would be very important to add that additional switch. But I went with IQ7 Pluses, and that switch didn't make no sense to put in by itself without the battery backup. So to recap, if I did this over, I would put IQ8As with a smart switch, so that way I would have power if the power goes out during the day. Now in the nighttime, because we don't have battery backup, we wouldn't have any power. But those are the biggest things that I would have changed installing my 10 kilowatt solar system or 7.8 kilowatt solar system, that I wish I had known before I started my project. Hopefully you don't make those same mistakes that I made. And if I find any more mistakes that I made, I'll be sure to update you guys. We're early on in the process of having this producing for us. And right now, my biggest mistake was those microinverters. So if you found this video helpful, be sure to smash that thumbs up button, because it really helps me out. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. Learning from my mistakes will help you save some extra money, help you produce more on your solar system that you might be building. And as always, I'm going to share my mistakes because we can't learn if we can't acknowledge that we made a mistake. So with that said, I'll catch you in the next project.